So he's out here in Wisconsin talking stupid, and people are cheering that their investment portfolio is going down and that their pension fund portfolio could be going down. And just say the company was dissolved altogether. So because you don't like the man, you want everybody to get screwed.
On my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping.
I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did.
Tim Walz, who's the dumbest man on planet Earth, and your girl Jasmine Crockett is the second dumbest. The derangement that I see from these liberals when it comes to their hatred and vitriolic behavior against conservatives or people who are conservative friendly is insane to me. Why would a man get on a stage and say that he wish and he's happy and excited that Tesla stock is going down? Why would a man do that? To have any integrity or any kind of gumption or anything, get on stage and say something this stupid because he's mad at Elon for what? What is he mad at Elon about? Where is this coming from? I'm going to let you listen to what he had to say and then we're going to get on, because I think that Kevin O'Leary actually had to go on the news and just blast all these people over this. But I want you to hear exactly what he says first, so you know why I'm upset about this and why everybody else is commenting about this. Roll the clip.
On my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
Yeah, like people, but you can't take the T off the back of the Tesla that's imprinted in the trunk. But just so you guys know, I want to put some context around this. And this happened on March the 18th. Walsh was in Wisconsin at a town hall meeting called The People versus Musk. They had a whole town hall called The People versus Musk, where he mocked Tesla's falling stock, which you heard, claiming that Elon Musk was an unelected South American, Nepo baby, that Musk roasted. And then Musk obviously had a comeback because he roasted Walz along with Kamala Harris for failing in the election miserably. And then Elon Musk responded back by saying to him that sometimes when I need a little boost, I look at J.D. Vance's portrait in the White House and thank the Lord. That's what Musk said against him. But I did a little bit of research before we get to Kevin O'Leary and them. I did a little bit of research because I thought it was important. People don't understand that majority of Tesla's stock isn't Elon Musk. It doesn't belong to Elon Musk. He's only a 20% owner in the company. Now, he's the biggest individual shareholder, but he only has 20% of the company. I did a little research on Tesla shareholdings from the populace and then how Tesla's shares are disseminated in the retirement system in Wisconsin. Now, let's look at this. The largest investors, about 44% of Tesla stock, is owned by big groups like mutual funds and pension funds, which is a part of the Wisconsin pension and all these other people who have your pension funds invested. Company insiders, meaning people that work for Tesla, on 21% of stock owned by people who work for Tesla, including CEO Elon Musk. So he owns about 20%, and I bet, no, it's just about 20% of total. So he owns about 20%, and it's 1% from the people who work there that own stock. And then the everyday investor, like you and I, small companies like mine, 35% of Tesla stock is owned by those individuals. So when this dummy gets out here and says that he's glad that the stock is going down, it's not just hurting Elon. It's hurting everybody that have invested their money in a Tesla. It's hurting all of these pension programs and these mutual funds that literally have investments in Tesla. If you look at the Wisconsin state, and this is as of September the 30th of 2024, Wisconsin Investment Board held approximately $1.6 million shares of Tesla, valued at $440 million, which represents 1.1 of its entire portfolio. So he's out here in Wisconsin talking stupid, and people are cheering that their investment portfolio is going down and that their pension fund portfolio could be going down. And just say the company was dissolved altogether. That's $400 million gone. A lot of people, the 35% of people who are everyday people like you and I, who have investments in our portfolio in Tesla, gone. So because you don't like the man, you want everybody to get screwed. Y'all, the U.S. Attorney General calls attacks against Tesla property domestic terrorist. I really do think it's a great idea that we designate this as domestic terrorism, because that's exactly what it is. And I honestly believe if it was Republicans doing this to Democrat-owned companies or whatever the case may be, they'll be all for it. However, I want you guys to see how the news is covering it so you don't get caught up in bias. If you look at the left side, what are they saying? Fox News host pushes death penalty. This is how they're framing it. Not the same. Americans compare anti-Tesla attacks to Bud Light backlash. You go on and so forth. That's the left's perspective. And then you go on to the right side. Why does legacy media refer to Tesla terrorism? Why don't they refer to them as the far left? And we all know why they don't refer to them as the far left, because they are not the far left. They are the mainstream left. And this is what the right side is saying about it. So go on. Check it out in the center, the left, the right, so you can be totally informed. And this is why I love Ground.News, is because this is where you get real news. Real news is not biased news. Real news is having the spectrum of what's being covered and then deciphering for yourself. But also, speaking about blind spots, I don't want you to be blind spotted when it comes to news either. So the Ground.News has this section specifically for you to make sure that you are not missing news because you are not listening to the entire spectrum of news outlets. All right. So let me just give you an example right here at the top. I'll use the first one. Trump says crypto will unleash an explosion of economic growth. The left is not talking about this whatsoever, only people on the right. This is something that the left should be paying attention to if they actually care. EU plans to supply at least 2 million shells annually to Ukraine. Republicans need to know this because we're in this conflict and this battle between how much we're funding Ukraine and how much the EU is providing their fair share. So don't get blind spotted. Make sure you guys subscribe through my link at ground.news/Tatum or download the mobile app and use offer code Tatum for 40% off the unlimited Vantage plan to see through media bias and stay informed. All right, let's go to the CNN. Roll it.
Now, I just want to be clear. No one at this table condones violence, right? Setting cars on fire, breaking windows, whatever, all of that is bad. But the question is, I mean, is it okay for an American company to just be hated, for people to want it to not do well?
I think go back to point one. When you set a car on fire, you should go to jail. You're a criminal.
Any car,
I don't think we have to
actually.
talk about it
not
in any
just
other
Tesla.
context. And all those cars have cameras in them, and those dealerships have cameras. You're beyond being stupid when you do that. You're going to go to jail, and you now have a government that just got their mandate. They can't wait to find idiots that do this. You're going to spend 5 to 20 years in prison. If they get them on terrorism, which I think is a stretch, they will have no parole, no shortened sentence. They'll rot in hell in prison for 20 years. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Breaking in, shooting a car, setting on fire, nothing to do with the politics, nothing to do with Tesla. You are a criminal, and you should go
What about the broader
to
question
jail.
about the protest factor? I mean, you heard
What
Tim Walz.
protest? You're a criminal.
I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did. He's talking down a 3.5% weighting in his own pension plan. I mean, what's the matter with that guy? He doesn't check the well-being of his own constituents in his state.
I mean,
that's their investment
to your
fund.
point,
What a bozo.
The Minnesota Tesla State Board of Investment, they have 1.6 million shares in Tesla in their retirement fund, 211,000 shares in a non-retirement fund. It's a relatively small amount, but that's one company, one single stock, and that's because Tesla is a huge part of the tech growth. But this is not the first time. Let's play some of the Budweiser sound just to remind people of this was just a couple years ago, actually.
American beer brand Bud Light knocked $4 billion off of its parent company Anheuser-Busch's market cap this past week. And this is great. This is a great thing, and we need to keep it up.
I understand Bud Light is piss water masquerading as beer. So I guess that, it's sort of trans beer.
This boycott is just getting started. It's not losing its legs. It's not petering out. It's not waiting for the storm to pass. This boycott means business. This is such wonderful news.
Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
You can't make it up. But look, I mean,
there is a difference.
I mean, what is the difference? I mean, I'm not talking about the violence. We've already established that. What's the difference between that and Tim Walz saying, I get a kick out of it?
First of all, look, Tim Walz is a complete moron to me. I have to be very honest. And I'm not surprised why the American people did not choose him. Nothing against the vice president. With that said, Elon Musk employs 80,000+ Americans. Most of them are working class people. The implications of the stock, let's say this were to continue on for another year, so I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. Will the company at some point have to decrease its workplace? Most of those people, I would imagine, probably vote for Democrats, at least some of them. So now you're impacting people who likely share your worldview because you disagree with Elon Musk. Don't buy the car. Just like those guys are saying, let's protest Anheuser-Busch, et cetera. We're just not going to buy their beer. I'm okay with that. But destroying public property, there is no place for that. I agree with Kevin. Lock them up and set an example that this is not what we're going to tolerate.
All right, let's do this real quick. Let me put this in perspective. I like to comment on this. So when it comes to the difference between Tesla and Anheuser-Busch, is that Anheuser-Busch, people decided that they weren't going to buy Anheuser-Busch. And therefore, the stock price dropped. Why? Because they put a tranny in their advertisement to a company that 100% is a male-driven company. They use women for sex to push the product to men. Well, men do the purchasing of Anheuser-Busch or purchasing of Bud Light. And so when you disrespect your clientele, your customer base, people do what? They just don't buy the product. And so they're cheering about the product having to turn its priorities around from a transgender person drinking beer to getting back to its original form where people enjoyed it, and that's why they purchased it. In Elon Musk's case, what has he done against people besides being a conservative? And then they're not saying, don't buy a Tesla, sell your Tesla. We wouldn't have a problem with it. It'd be the same argument. But no, they're burning Teslas. They're attacking people and assaulting people at the Tesla headquarters. And then the dumb politicians are celebrating because, as you notice, there wasn't a politician in any of that. Those are all political pundits. We're talking about politicians, people who are managing your pension and saying, I'm glad Tesla is going out and can't tell you why. That's the problem and the difference that I see between both of them. And they should be ashamed of themselves. Roll the clip.
People will go to jail. I mean, you can't burn a dealership and not get caught eventually and go to jail. But it is, again, the broader question here about has it crossed the line when people are sort of rooting for the failure of a company?
Well, first, let me say, until yesterday, I think I was one of the only Democratic elected officials to unambiguously condemn the violence and destruction against Tesla. I don't think you have to be tough on crime to do that. As you know, my grandfather is part of Gandhi's Satyagraha movement, independence movement. He said sabotage is a form of violence. I mean, this is not the best form of protest, and it's not the tradition. The second point is, I'm not going to root against Tesla. There are 20,000 people who work in my district who make a living off this. They're building electric vehicles that ultimately are good for the climate. I have huge, huge problems with what Elon Musk is doing. Have the protest and the conversation and criticism of Musk. Don't take it out on a company where you have workers, where you have engineers, where you have scientists, which are creating wealth for the country, which is helping the climate. And I think Democrats have to be able to offer common sense perspectives, focus on what the problem is with Musk. Don't focus on the wealth of a company.
I don't condone violence, but I wish people would take a look in the mirror and see what's actually happening. This is not an America First company. It's a South African First company. That's what Tesla is. But this is the same party that talks about America First and Make America.
Dang, can y'all get some smart? I mean, the young guy there is smart. I have to say, they got one smart black person on there. But for every one black person they put on there smart, they put an idiot on there. This is a South African First company. How many Teslas are in South Africa? I don't even need to look it up. It dang sure ain't as many that's in America. Just driving here today when I was dropping my son off to school. I'm driving up the freeway. There's Tesla here, Tesla there, Tesla here, and 2 Teslas behind me. And y'all want clean energy, remember? The carbon footprint and all this other stuff. South African. I would think Tesla's a Phoenix company. To be honest, I ain't seen so many Teslas in Phoenix. It's insane. Now, what crack, cocaine mixture are you doing to speak out of your mouth on national TV say so? South American first. Elon don't even live in South Africa because he was born there at some point. What are you even saying? Roll the clip.
Great again, but they're giving someone unfettered access who is an immigrant. And if you leave it to this party to talk about, there's no space for immigrants.
Okay.
No. Some of us are here by force.
Some of us are lesser immigrants?
No, you're right. That's exactly what y'all think. That's exactly what y'all think.
He's a lesser immigrant?
No. What I'm saying is
he's tainted because you're from South Africa and he's really brilliant?
You know what is so funny about that? Y'all are also the party of the birtherism movement.
Wow, he's a tainted immigrant.
No. That's what you all would have liked to say about Barack Obama.
Where do I fit? I'm Irish Lebanese. Am I like second class or where am I?
You tell me, ask your party.
Wow.
She's so silly. Angela Rye is so silly. Did y'all see her? What argument did she make right there? These people get on TV, they're unprepared, and they just say things that are superfluous. There's no way in the world you can make an argument that it's a South African company. And then he just caught her in a loop because she had to say that some immigrants are more important than others. She's dumb enough with the Democrat Party to say that you want Nana and them to come over here and live off the government versus a person who's probably contributing to a large portion of income for our government. She's better than him. He need to go bad man. She need to stay living off the government. This is how they prioritize immigrants. I thought we were all equal. No, if we don't like you, you're not a good immigrant. If you're a black person, no, if we don't like you, being black it means nothing. You're a minority, who cares if we don't like you? You gay, you trans, lesbian, we don't like you no more. You can't be a part of LGBTQ, AARP, NAACP, NCAA. You can't be a part of none of that because you're on the wrong side and we don't like you. There's another clip that I wanted to play. I think it was the one from Andrew Schulz. Is that the Andrew Schulz one? We only have one CNN clip in the Andrew Schulz one, right? Roll it.
So
for real.
So this is like a kind of situation where, like, yes, I understand that he's antagonizing people. He's like rubbing people the wrong way. You don't like the guy. You don't like the beliefs. You don't like what he's doing. And there are things to criticize. I'm not saying there aren't things to criticize. Like nobody's above criticism. But to punish that car company that is 100% made in America, made by people living in America, Americans rely on those jobs. Like, maybe we criticize another thing.
Right.
Like, what is your goal? That we shut down those factories and those Americans lose those jobs? That makes you feel better about your gripe with Elon?
That's the thing. Some people, they just want to win an argument, it feels like, you know.
And they don't realize there's people that rely on those jobs.
I think that was I wish I'd have had more of that clip and more of the Kevin O'Leary clip. But I think you guys get the point and get the perspective. I think it's very clear that these people are nutty. I think it's clear that they hate the American people. They don't really care about you. They let their emotions get the best of them. So then they will make irrational decisions to benefit their weaponized emotions. They don't care if it hurts you. They don't care about the 80,000 people that work for Tesla. And probably in the next, 10 years, there could be 100,000 plus people that work for Tesla. And that's just Tesla. We're not even talking about SpaceX. We're not even talking about other business ventures that Elon Musk is involved in that employ probably over 100,000 people. But they don't care about you. Can you get that through your mind? They don't care. Because if they don't like you today, then everything you do, even if it includes hurting American people, they are for it. They're for the destruction of America. They're for the destruction of freedom. They're for the destruction of the family. When are we gonna catch on to what the Democrats are doing? They've been evil since their inception. The only reason that people even like them or they got any gravitas is because at some point they tried to do what they think you want them to do in order for you to vote for them. Not because they truly cared, and because they truly wanted was sustainable for America. I don't think they've ever been right. The party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party that filibustered against the civil rights movement, the party that did not unanimously vote for women's rights to vote. It's the same party that we're talking about today that have a vested interest in screwing you over as an American because they don't like this person. It's crazy to go after a man's company because you don't like him. Why? Because he's exposing the government. That's simply what this is about. And so anytime your friends say something to you about this, you say, you mad at him for exposing the government? Oh, he has unfettered access. What has he done with your social security numbers? What has he done against you? What crime has he committed? What crime is he being accused of committing? Nothing. You guys are mad because he might have access to your stuff. Appointed by Donald Trump, but not because he did anything. Okay. Because he can do something. Because he's going around and saying, you're spending way too much money here, and here. It's crazy. Now he's hated. It's insane. Let's jump on somebody else.